Oh my. Oh my. Here we go. We'll take the cheers right here.
Oh, we're cheersing with the bottles?
Well, no, I'm drinking out of the bottle.
Oh, you drink out of the bottle?
I'm just drinking out of the bottle because
it's your
you're
house,
not.
It's your bottle.
Yeah, so
I'm
if you
drinking out of the shot glass because I'm classy.
Hell yeah.
You ready?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And 5, 4, 3, 2. Was that good? Is that a good call? That's good stuff.
Oh, God.
Have you ever had an El Jimador?
Is that a cigar?
No, it's a tequila. El Jimador stands for the Mexican farmer, and it is the absolute worst. It is like straight agave, and I don't even know what that is. But this is Shot 30 Podcast. I am Shayne Neubert. Today I have stand-up comedian, improv superstar, because like digging into... Okay, wait, when we do,
Please
we'll go a little
shine
bit.
on me.
Marathon specialist. Should I continue forward?
Keep going. I need this in my life.
Leslie Mitchell's in the studio today. Leslie, thank you so much for being here. Leslie just competed at the stand-up, the Speakeasy show that we just did, and was incredible. And the amount of...
walked away with nothing.
You walked away with losing to the GOAT.
The Tom Brady of comedy.
I will never say that ever again. It almost made me puke.
It's immortalized right now.
I felt like I just took your shot of tequila after saying that. But no, you are absolutely incredible, funny, your stage presence and everything. And I want to dive into...
I took home the silver medal.
The silver medal is not a bad deal if you're melting it down and fighting a vampire.
That's a werewolf.
Well, werewolf's my bad. Oh, wait,
Make it into bullets and shoot a werewolf, right?
Yeah, vampires is crosses, right?
Stabbing in the heart.
Yeah.
Zombies would be the head.
Yeah, Walking Dead.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've all learned a lot from Rick Grimes out there.
What would your weapon be?
Well,
I've thought about this a lot, actually.
My weapon of choice, so like against what creature?
Zombies.
I don't know, probably like a spiked dildo. Maybe.
Like a really big one.
Yeah, like Excalibur. Yeah. Like the one that they sell at the Lion's Den that's like this long.
I've never been to the Lion's Den.
I would just like to wonk them in the face. I'm not killing them. I'm just going to like disorient them.
It would come back and slap you back, though. I wouldn't want that.
I would be loving it.
I would not. I've been thinking about this a lot.
Okay, what's your weapon of choice?
Easton softball bat.
Easton?
I want to hear the ting of the aluminum, because if I'm going to kill zombies, I'm going to enjoy it.
Were you a softball player, or is that?
I did play softball when I was young because
You have an athletic nature too. You like so you've done the Bix and everything like multiple almost every year or something like that, right?
I've done about I've done 10 marathons. I've done like 50 or 60 half marathons, an array of 10Ks and 5Ks, and I've done, I think, 4 or 5 ultras, which is a distance over a marathon. Anything like 26.3 is considered an ultra, but I've done some 50Ks.
So is that like a thing that came from high school? Is that?
God, no. I was a fat couch potato.
Really?
Yeah.
Are you serious? Okay, so that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
I mean, like, especially when I think in most cases, when you're like a very lazy person, in like high school or younger years, you decide like, I don't want to be like that anymore. You go 110%.
And then the older you get, like the young people that were really fit in high school, really the athletes, you go to your high school reunion and they're fat and they don't know they're fat.
Oh, yeah.
They don't get it at all.
They think they're still in that, Backstreet Boy era.
They do. They think they're the sexiest motherfuckers ever. And you're like, I remember once my husband put on jeans and he had gained some weight. And he's like, hon, they don't make 36s the way they used to. And I'm like, yeah, that's because you should be in a 38.
Your husband's a very handsome guy, though.
He has to stay in shape because he's in the Army. And so he has to PT it.
Yeah, I was gonna say. So he's still active, right?
He is an Army reservist who is on active duty orders.
And your dad also served. Is that correct?
Well, my dad's a Vietnam veteran. Holy shit! You did some homework there.
Sorry.
No, don't be sorry. That's impressive.
But yeah, no, like, and this is. Oh, like with all the crazy stuff going on in the world today, like Brad just shared I don't know, Brad Hahn.
Yeah.
Yeah, he just shared something about, it was all the flag stuff and, people stomping on it and burning it. I'm like, and someone was defending the opposite. Like, those people fight for that right. And I'm like, and I know Brad's stories and I have a lot of friends who have served and I know their stories. And I'm like, God, just come on, please look at it with a compassionate heart. Like, don't just jump to be a dick, like.
I asked my husband that one time because, the whole Colin Kaepernick and all that stuff that was going on. And that kind of ruined football for me. But
it did for a lot of people.
Yeah, it ruined it for me. But I asked him once, I go, why stand for the national? Or, why? Why is this... why are you? And he goes, because that's why we're such a great country, is because people can be dicks. Mm-hmm. And he's the guy he served, he's 20 years in, and he's going to go as long as he can, and he loves being in the service, and he will fight to the death for a guy like Colin Kaepernick, anybody who does that. Mm-hmm. And there's something beautiful about it, and because if you think about that much beauty, I'm not going to ever...
Yeah,
I just can't. I can't.
I couldn't. Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. Like that is the epitome of what we're talking about. Like that is.
We were just talking about that, me and him, because I went down to visit him. He's stationed at MacDill Air Force Base in Tampa, and we were celebrating 14 years of marriage, and we realized that we've probably only been together.
Oh, man.
Probably 9 or 10 of that whole 14, because he was in Iraq. He served some stateside, things, but also Germany. And so we've been apart for a good chunk of time as well. Mm-hmm. And so I know that feeling of making half a bed for like a year. I know that feeling of getting emails and voicemails. I had a voicemail once that said, it was like a family readiness group for the U.S. Army. There was a bombing in Baghdad when he was stationed there. And he was in that area that just said, whatever you may hear, your husband is fine. And it was a voicemail. And I just came back from happy hour with girlfriends where I forgot about it for just a second. And then I took that voicemail and I was like, oh, fuck.
Oh, man.
Yeah. And I was excited for him to come home. And when he was getting closer to him coming home, the family readiness group, the Army Family Readiness Division, was sending us all emails that was like signs to look for if your husband's in trouble mentally. And I was like, oh, shit. That wasn't even on my radar to think about. I was planning a party.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've watched, like, okay, so I have a... Why did that sound... Well, I think I might have that. Like, one of my friends, man, every time a pop noise, it is the... I did not realize what was going on with him. He was a medic overseas, and his stories are horrific. People with half their head hanging off. Come on, Doc, you got to help me. Like, but every time he hears a pop noise, he cringes up and freezes. Like, I don't know that feeling because I've never done that. Like it's a lot like, like with you and doing stand-up or being on stage, people are like, oh, yeah, I could get up on stage and make a joke. The second a joke doesn't land and you're standing there frozen, no one knows that type of feeling. And not to compare that to that, but just it's like, for me, that's something that I can relate it to, that, like.
The fact that you want to gravitate to somebody who's been experienced what you've experienced, just in general, whatever it is, right? That's what you're saying?
Yeah. Yeah.
He did have one weird thing when he came home, and that was that, and I was so grateful. I was like, thank you, God, that this was your issue with him, and that was that he didn't change his underwear. I just remembered we lived in Chicago, and
for like how long?
A week at a time. Like, so I would do every, because you have to pay. We had to pay for the laundry room. I would go every week and take our laundry down, and I'd pick like 5 a.m. when nobody was around, and I would fold our laundry, and I would have like legit 7 pairs of panties. He would have 2. And I did this for a few weeks, and I was like, what the fuck is going on? And I asked him, I just point blank go, okay, here, you're not changing your underwear? And in Iraq at the time, like next to them. And it had to be super fast.
Yeah.
And one of the things that I would give him or send him when I sent a care package was the individual laundry soaps, which they would throw in a 5-gallon bucket of water and throw their uniform in it and then just slosh it. Just to get, I mean, you're not going to get it really clean.
You're just getting gunk off of it at that point, yeah.
And so he didn't like to shower very often, and he just didn't. And they worked like, because there's nothing, it's not like you're going there for fun. So they worked about 18-hour days, and then they'd sleep like 6 or whatever. And so when he got home, he just was not in this habit of changing his underwear. So when he went back to work, his first job back after some time was... he went back to his Army base at Fort Sheridan in Illinois, and he would get up earlier than me. And I remember just half asleep, screaming at him from bed to the bathroom, change your underwear, change your underwear. But if that was the worst that I had to deal with, and I actually suggested that we write a letter to each other, because he was like waiting in a hangar for like a full week, his unit, to get a plane to get back home. So they were just sitting around doing nothing when they were released. And I said, it'd be nice if you wrote me a letter, and I'll write you one, like of this past year and what we went through and what we learned. And I still have that letter. And his was, I didn't tell you this. We actually got married 4 days before he left.
And that wasn't strategically played, or was it?
Well, we were already engaged, but if anything would happen to him, it goes to the next of kin, any information. So it would be his mother.
Yeah.
And so it might as well just get married. And so we did. We just kind of hustled that up and got married.
Wait, side question.
Yeah.
Are you ordained?
Am I ordained? No.
I've seen you in front of people that look like they were getting married, and I wanted to ask you that. I was like,
I might have been at a wedding.
Okay, but it looked like you were in the middle and you were laughing very hard. I was like, wait, is she ordained? Yeah, so I wanted to ask that.
No,
I wasn't
suppose
sure.
I could really quick if I wanted to.
The way the people were laughing, I mean, they were dressed as if they were getting married. I mean, I believe they were getting married, but they were on each side of you, and you were holding like an open book, it looked like.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I was like, wow, that's weird.
I have to see that.
But
I have the second shot. It's poured, but I'm gonna pause.
I'm just gonna clank with you.
Yeah.
And
I did have, Fireball's not my thing, except somebody poured a little bit of it on top of an apple cider one time.
Ooh,
and
yeah.
It was tasty.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you can do a lot with Fireball. Actually, a lot of people bake with Fireball now.
Have you poured it over ice cream ever?
I've never done.
An apple cobbler.
Ooh,
Vanilla.
Now you're getting all these ideas.
Yeah, now I want some. Yeah.
Okay, so with now your husband and everything, so was maybe like you doing improv and stand up and stuff? Does that like give you something while he was gone? Does that give you something to look forward to, or what?
Well, I did improv. I've done improv since 95. I'm dating myself. I'm such an anomaly in the comedy scene.
Did you do comedy sports?
I did comedy sports, Quad Cities. Yeah.
Oh,
yeah. Comedy
Comedy sports really, really great system all over. Everywhere you go.
Good people.
Very good shows everywhere you go.
Well, they've got, I think, let's go pre-COVID time. They had like 36 around the country, and there's one in England, there's one in Germany. I think they were going to get one in Poland of some sort. So they're all over the place. But I started in Arizona, and then I moved to Chicago, and that's where I met my husband. He's a Chicago guy.
Cubs fans too.
He is. His family, his uncles, they're all Sox people, so they're really happy right now.
Yeah.
And I met Eric the night the White Sox won the World Series.
Oh, what a terrible day in human history. But hey, the Cubs won it a few years later. And
dude, could I tell you how happy I was when that day happened? And then I cried because my grandma would have loved to have seen me.
Oh, so many. Isn't that like... So I didn't have any grandmas or grandpas growing up.
Okay.
They were all dead, or I didn't know about them. But I did have an aunt, fake aunt, but an aunt. And I spent all summer with her, and she would just sit there, shut up and watch Sammy Sosa. Like, just shut the fuck up and just watch him work. And it made me love baseball. It made me love the Cubs. It made me love the fact that I'm like, why are we losing every single game? Like, and she's like, listen, this is what we are. We're losers.
Yeah. I grew up with the Cubs. My dad is a huge Cubs fan. I can't tell you how many times I could count that he would scream to my mother to get rid of all the TVs in the house because he hated just being a part of this losing tradition, you know. Have you seen Chicago Party Ant on Netflix?
No.
Go watch that. That's really fun.
What is that?
It's an animated series that's just kind of
Party?
fucked up and fun.
You know what?
My friends wrote that, and then it's just a blast.
You shared something about that, like a clip or a scene that's talking about, like, hey, Moline, Illinois, or something like that?
Yeah. Episode 2. So literally, my friends wrote that because I did Second City I.O. in Chicago for years and years. And Chris, who came up with the concept of this thing, started it to Twitter feed, and then he took it to Netflix, and they wrote it out and made a show. But he went to the University of Iowa himself, and there's this scene in a bar where his, washed up aunt is trying to get laid, but she wants to get bar laid, like, the late night, one and done. And she goes, and then a group of guys come in, and one guy's got a Hawkeye sweatshirt, and she's like, something about she wants to fuck she's one Quad City away, and she's like, anybody from Moline from winning the sex. Oh, that was awesome.
Oh yeah, no, that's good.
Yeah.
Actually,
lots of references.
Speaking of University of Iowa, we just booked. His name was Julian Vandevelde. He was the center for the Hawkeyes, and then he played 5 or 7 years in the NFL. And he's going to be here next week. And I can tell you, he may not fit even sitting where you are.
No shit. He's that big.
He's a mammoth.
You should save those cookies for him. He'll probably chow those down.
If you eat one right now, he'll probably suck up the crumbs when he gets here. He's a big boy. But no, I got to meet him at this barbecue competition that we were at last weekend. He was a freaking blast. Super nice guy. And he's really good at speaking. So I was like, why aren't you in like broadcasting or something? And he's like, I make too much money at what I do right now.
What does he do?
He does something with solar panels.
Okay.
And I don't know.
There's so many jobs out in the world that you just never think, okay, I guess there has to be a guy for that. Mm-hmm. And that's where you make money.
Remember, there's people who make the colors that go on top of dildos. Like, they just sitting there mixing silicone that's going in.
I don't really get dildos.
It's not a big thing for you?
No.
Yeah, I mean, it's more maybe.
Isn't it more of a joke?
Dildos?
Yeah.
I don't think so.
How would you use... I guess I just want to be efficient.
There is a fascinating thing about dildos.
Tell me.
They use... I know this sounds crazy, but I promise you this is true. They use different silicones for each one. So if you have one of one and one of another, and then like you go to put them in your underwear drawer or whatever, and
feels like you were different people.
Yeah, but if you go to put them both, those two separate brands in a drawer, and they touch, they create a chemical reaction, and they'll actually melt and completely melt. It'll be a hard silicone. They'll completely melt if they touch each other. Just touch.
Why?
Not heated up or anything like that. I don't know. Something to do with the chemicals that's in it.
Crossing the
streams. It's like when you drop a Mento in a Coca-Cola.
People in I'm going to ask questions like I'm a fourth grader.
Okay.
In a twisted school. Dildos you insert?
Yes, you would insert a dildo. What?
Okay. I mean, but
would you insert a penis?
Just use a vibrator. Just tickle the girl and go.
Well, they're practically hand in hand, the same thing, except for one has a battery in it. Mm. Yeah.
I feel like dildos are work.
When's the last time you ever been in a adult like sex shop?
Oh, it's a long time.
You should.
I just ordered online.
Adam and Eve.
No.
Adam and Steve.
No, a good girlfriend recommended the Smile Club.
Like the little fruit chews?
No. You have to look it up. I've got. That's good. The Smile. It was from.
The Smile.
Oh shit! What is her name? Yeah, look it up if you can. But they're fantastic. They're named like the fireman, the Frenchman.
Oh, dang.
The tennis coach. They have adorable names, and they're really cute. A couple good girlfriends recommended them, and I'm like, okay, we'll see what they're all about. But we went into a store once, my husband and I, down in Florida, because I had read about one that it's remote control. Like he could remote control me.
Yeah, he can. Yeah.
He could remote. You could be just make
And
it kind of
buzz you
fun.
whenever you want. Yeah.
And so we went into the store, and first of all, it was like marked up like 35% over the cost online. I'm sorry, I guess.
Yeah, but you remember you got to pay you know how they're trying to tax people for like mileage now? How that's been a thing that they're talking about?
No.
Yeah, they're talking about taxing you for however far you drive in your car per year. Like taxing you per mile.
Isn't gas expensive enough as it is?
I know, but now look at the sex shops are trying to charge us per orgasm.
Per orgasm. Yeah. They should charge me. I should charge them if it doesn't get me off fast enough.
You're right.
Like if it takes more than 10 minutes. Fuck you. I got shut this out.
You're on to a great lawsuit here.
Hello. You promised results. Fast. No, but I would rather have. I think it's called the My Smile or the Smile Club, something like that. It came from Gwyneth Paltrow's website because she has like natural health, or like she calls it something sexier than getting off.
Yeah, because it's orgasm.
Something.
I don't know.
They're fantastic.
Oh well, that's great. Yeah, that's great. I mean, I've like Timmery.
I may not use them after a while because Eric's coming home. So
Timmery's an avid collector of dildos.
Really?
Yeah. She has all shapes and sizes. Whatever she wants, she gets. But like the Lion's Den in
on the way to Geneseo.
Yes.
Okay.
It is like you walk into. Okay. Imagine the dirtiest gas station, the scummiest, dirtiest gas station you have ever walked into, and then imagine walking into like a brand new Pilot, where it's all beautiful. They're like selling.
Okay.
That's what the Lion's Den is.
Nice.
It's like, what in the fuck is this? Like, it's their porn, like their porn is like all beautifully packaged and high dollar.
I don't, and this is in my stand-up. I don't need porn. I need a story. Like Bridgerton on Netflix.
50 Shades of Grey?
Well, no, that's actually stupid shit. When I tried to read 50 Shades of Grey, and I turned into a grammar teacher. I'm like, oh, this is awful. But like Bridgerton on Netflix, I want costumes.
Yeah,
I want characters.
You want a full story.
I want musical interludes. That's the kind of thing that will make
build up.
That makes Mama happy. That makes Mama happy. So I get that porn works for a lot of people, but nah, I'm good without it. I have a good imagination on my own.
I can respect that too. You know, like, see, I don't know, but like when you walk in the Lion's Den though, it's like you're walking in. And hey, Lion's Den, if you want to sponsor this podcast, go ahead. Like, I mean, here we are. We're sitting here. I've already done stand-up about the Lion's Den. Walked into the Lion's Den, and the owner knew who I was.
That's awesome. See,
like,
that's fancy dancy right there. Yeah. Like, did you get a free dildo though?
No, he didn't give me shit for free. He was like, "Did you guys really bang in the back?" And I was like, "I'm never gonna tell you that. I'm not gonna give you the real." But I can tell you a lot of there is.
I would be too nervous to get caught.
Get caught in the back?
Yeah.
But I mean, there's like rooms. Oh. As far as I know. Yeah. We'll leave it at that.
Not to say anything. There's a giant 69 behind your head.
Yeah, you can figure out a lot about me just looking around the room.
69 has its pluses.
But, and its minuses. But, Shot 30 Podcast is sponsored by Manscaped. Visit manscaped.com. Use the promo code SHOT30. That is SHOT, the number 30 at Manscaped for 20% off plus free shipping. Manscaped is bringing you the newest innovations in for men's grooming below the waist, and it is incredible. You can use it in the shower. The 4.0 package is incredible. The cologne is the absolute best smelling cologne I've ever smelled. Visit manscaped.com. Use the promo code SHOT30 for 20% off and free shipping.
As a lady, I really appreciate a good Manscaped, so I am all about that. Please keep that up.
That's actually what I was going to say to you is can I say what birthday you just celebrated? Or no?
Sure, yeah.
Yeah, you just celebrated your 50th,
yeah,
50th birthday. And which I would never guess.
Yeah.
You would never even remotely come close to that.
Thanks.
In my guess.
That's another reason why I want to stay in shape. I want to do things.
I understand that. And the age is literally absolutely nothing when you think about how I know people that are 30 years old that their lives are already over, dude. They don't... sorry guys,
I mean,
but you
yeah,
guys
they
just
rode hard and put away wet. I was like, oh.
yeah, dude, they're just sitting on their couch pretending to live life, and hey, they're probably not waking up tomorrow.
I know, and that's sad.
Yes, it really is. You know, like I've watched even at such a like young age, like even younger than I am now, I've watched so many people pass away already, and I just think to myself, I'm like, man, you know, you could be 100. Like, you know, the weird thing is you see so many people that are like 100, 110 years old, and they're all like, yeah, I smoke every day. I'll 5 cigars every day. I drank every single day of my life. Like, everybody's body's going to be way different. Yeah, like if you have lung cancer, maybe you should stop smoking, but I don't know. I'm never going to tell somebody what to do or.
I just had I just got blown away this weekend. I heard that a friend from my Chicago days, she just passed away of breast cancer and she had a 3-year battle, and she died at 45. And she left her husband, you know, and she was on the Second City stage. It was something that that was a goal. That was like when I was selfish, that's all I ever thought about, was like I was happily envious of her and all the things she had going for her, and I guarantee you she'd rather be alive.
Yeah,
I think people don't think about that. Like, we can have a great life.
And your life is everything that you make of it, and that's
True.
a lot of things. You know, like when you really dig down to looking at people, and this is something that I think about quite a bit, is because I spent a lot of time, you know, being miserable with friends that didn't care about me, or I had a past marriage where I wasn't allowed to speak. I had no voice. I was an object. I was a power lifter. I was a big buff. I was the big buff trophy with a credit card. And I wasn't even me. Like, I would just sat there and I would look at myself in the mirror. I'm like, just talk, just say something. Like, please just be yourself. And then I had a long history with there's a couple ups and downs, but like you're the best. I'm sorry.
You're getting a little choked up here, but I see your wife and how kind she is, and you're just a positive guy. I'm glad that I didn't know that guy, because he sounded kind of stuck. You got unstuck somehow.
I was miserable, but I had multiple things. Like when I was like, even with my stand up, I put it in there, and it was like a really tough thing for me to put it. But I posted an episode last year about talking about how I was molested as a little kid by not only my football coach.
Oh, fuck.
He owned pretty much the school and the town and everything around the town. And it really drugged me down, because like when I was in school and like growing up, I wanted to be so much more. Like, I would always pretend to be so much more, even though I'm like this broken kid. And then growing up, like too, after my divorce with my ex, like I was just ready to go. I was shoving pills in my mouth. I hung myself over the lake. Like, I was the doctor had given me all kinds of meds and stuff. He's like, come on, man, we gotta. And I'm like, I'm not crazy. Like, everybody's just saying that I'm crazy. I just need to get away from all of the bad people that are telling me that I'm crazy. And I would lay there, they give me these meds, and I used to I would claw through the sheets at night. Like, and then finally one day I was like, I'm not taking any of this shit anymore. And listen, like, I hung myself, blah, 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 tree branch breaks, I fall in the lake. And there was Timmery, my wife, just there to give me all the love and just, people love you. Yeah. And I looked at her one time, I just had glossy eyes. I was like, everything has been so miserable for me. Like, it's just inevitable. And she said, no, it's not. And everything changed, it like literally in the matter of a moment, when she was like, no, people do love you. Screw everybody else that's treated you like this. I was this big, huge power lifter. I was ranked number 6 in the world. Everything came crashing down after I had a couple really terrible injuries. And so I didn't have that anymore. So now I'm just left as being a nobody. I'm left as nothing. I have no identity. I have no voice. I'm in this terrible relationship. And I had all these people that I guess loved me. And then when I left my ex, like, they were like, I don't know what you're thinking. No, I don't know. And I was like, you guys don't even know me. You guys, I've never even had the chance to talk. And then, yeah, everything just changed from there. It's very weird. It's a very, very weird. But now I want to show people that I love them. I want to talk to people. That's why I started a podcast. That's why I'm doing stand-up. I want to talk to people. I want to hear people laugh. All these different things I actually want to see, hear, and feel. Because it's powerful for me now because I knew how much I couldn't do that before.
You know what it sounds like? It sounds like this previous Shayne was a combination of what everybody else says you are, and then something had to break, something had to give. I'm really glad God decided to take that limb off and not let you succeed. And now the real Shayne is here. You know, like a kiwi, if you look at it, that is sweeter than a strawberry on the inside, but it doesn't look like anything you'd want to eat on the outside.
Like a hairy ball sack on the outside.
The best kind of hairy ball sack. Not from Manscaped. Manscaped will take care of your hairy ball sack.
30 or 20% off. Use the promo code SHOT30.
There you go. But this is the Shayne that's meant to shine. Do you know?
I truly...
Coal and a diamond.
I just know that no matter what even if it's... Man, I don't know what it is. I just think that with me and today, with who I am today, I'm not afraid of anything. When everything that I walked through in life, I was afraid. I really was. I was terrified of everything. And people, you know, like maybe people that grew up with me are like, no way. He was, I was a very good athlete. That's
their perception of you.
I know, but yeah, exactly. And so, but no one knew that I'm this broken cat, and things changed though, and things changed. And now the way I look at everything is, you know, even the way I talk, I just walk around and look at people, and I understand if somebody goes like, get the fuck out of my way at the grocery store. I know you're hurting, buddy. Something's going on with you, or like, but I don't have time to be mad at somebody. Like, I'm maybe in the past 5 years, I've been mad maybe 3 times. Like, I just I can't even process being mad because I remember things that I should have been mad about, and I'm like, this doesn't compare. Just stop what you're doing. And, you know, like, that's what me and Timmery, we're never going to get in a fight. You're never going to see me post on Facebook like, oh, I guess she just doesn't care tonight. Fuck that. But, like, you'll never see me say something like that. And I don't know. I think that's, I just wish that a lot more people, like, you are a very free type of person.
Hope so.
You radiate love to people, which is something that I really, really enjoy. I didn't know you, and you walk up to me, and you're giving me. I mean, you're kind of busting my balls about my baseball pants
all the time.
But
your capris.
I mean, I literally, this is just the way I wear my pants. I don't know. I think I got.
It's adorable.
Normally, my legs are all manscaped, so I want to show it off all the time. But my arms are always manscaped because best product out there. I don't know, but you even on stage, you give off this presence of just, man, that'd be a person that I just want to be around. Like, you're so happy, your energy is so high, and
good. I hope
and you're so sweet.
Aw.
For real.
Fuck you. No, just kidding.
Sorry. Now she's being an asshole.
I'm a dick. Side note, I am so happy. I think it's been a few years, but the fact that women can call women assholes, I always thought that was a reserved word for men. And I'm so happy that we're like, that woman's an asshole. And I kind of like that. I've just been really enjoying that word.
You just get it. Hey, maybe Timmery will make you like an ass. You're an asshole shirt, and you just wear it around. Awesome. She makes everything on that crackhead.
You guys have so many hobbies.
Yeah, I know. Speaking of one, hey, visit Mrs. Newbie's Cakes and Cookies for your most beautiful cakes, cupcakes, cookies, delights. Visit Mrs. Newbie's Cakes and Cookies on Facebook and Instagram. Put your orders in early because she books out quick. And honestly, right now, I think she's booked out for like the next 2 months. So put your orders in early at Mrs. Newbie's Cakes and Cookies.
I love a good cookie, don't you?
Oh God, yeah, I do.
my jam.
I do. Actually, my favorite thing that she's ever made is she was making muffins. Not like a muffin. We're talking like a muffin on
Where
all
you
the
pull
steroids.
the top off
Yes.
and it's crispy a bit on top.
And then you just pitch the bottom half. Like, who gives a fuck about the bottom? But that top.
Yeah, the top. Are they like streusel-y, you know? Like the blueberry, can they have a little crunchy streusel to it?
Oh, dude, she does everything. Yep.
Like, who needs porn?
Yeah, I was just gonna say, does the husband? Did he just click the button?
I have found that I actually learned. I know you do a lot of barbecuing podcasts, but there was a couple of years ago where I learned how to perfect a steak, and I honestly didn't even know how to have it cut at a butcher shop. Like, cut that bitch even. And the minute that I learned, and a ribeye, like if I want to send my husband to the outer galaxies of happiness, I will cook a mean ass ribeye for that boy, and he deserves it. And
How do you cook your steak? Because
I grill it.
I'm in the process of I've been bugging
That's your
up
jam?
about, like, I've never been like big on steak, but like I was like, just not so long ago, I was like, I really want to learn. So I've got a couple methods that I'm trying right now. But what do you do?
So here's what I've learned recently. So I already knew obviously inch thick cut it's where it's at. But let it set out for about 45 minutes before you grill. But I have learned somewhere along the line not to season it until it's resting.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
So when it's resting, I might foil wrap it, and I'll throw seasoning on that. And I'll just use straight up Weber, the salt and pepper mix that they have, and I'll just do it that way. And like last night, I grilled myself a steak because it was a long day of stuff. And I threw a dollop of guacamole on top of it.
Really?
Yeah.
And how was that?
It was tasty.
Guac.
Get my fats in.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was good.
So I like
But season after, try that.
my number. I've always let my steak sit in a bag with seasonings, and I put Worcestershire, amino acids in there, a little bit of hot sauce, and let it soak in. I fork it a lot, so it all soaks into it. And then the first thing that I do is I'll put that grill almost at 400 degrees.
Yeah, I do 450.
Yeah, so and I'll just lay it on there. I don't know, maybe 3 minutes each side. Put it on the top rack for about 15 minutes. Bring it inside, and the very first thing that I do is I'm gonna set very thin cut butter, like as thin as I can get it, so then it just slowly melts and soaks in. And it's not gonna be too fast. It soaks in very slow.
How thick is that cut, though? If you're talking to those kind of temperatures and stuff.
One or 1.5. Yeah. So, or how thick is the
cut of meat? Shit's gotta be like, it's 1.5.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and so with the butter, like with the butter.
Salted butter, right?
Yes, but when it sinks into it, and then you let it sit. There's been a couple times I put it back on and let it set up top for a little bit longer, just so it really. And then you cut it open, and it's just sweating, and
Okay, so
I did not think this podcast was going here
this
with you.
podcast has gone nowhere that I thought it was.
It's so
not
much,
that I prepped or anything, but
it's so much better than Stevie Mo's. Stevie, you fucking suck. And Stevie, and I want to say this publicly. You want to talk with Matt Miller about the speakeasy and all this blah blah blah, and how you got robbed at your fucking comedy competition, and you can't give me one fucking second of credit when my wife literally cleaned your puke up from my fucking garage, you scumbag piece of shit. All right, now let's go ahead.
Stevie is a work in progress.
Stevie is.
He's getting there.
Stevie's everybody's little terrible brother.
He's that Bruce Springsteen song, step forward, 2 steps back. That's that poor Stevie.
I said when I had my hair super long, I had a really long mullet. Someone walked up to me and said, "Dude, you guys kind of look like you guys would be brothers." And then I did a whole thing I was like, yeah, I said, if you bought me from Wish, that's Stevie. If Stevie is what I look like if I never showered or brushed my teeth.
Or had a woman that gave you love, although he has one now. Okay, so I want to say one more thing about steak, and then let's go back to Stevie, because that's
No.
going to be a jump to somewhere. So steak, when we were in Florida, one of my clients was a resort down there, and they gave us 3 days.
Yeah, and you
of
were
all
chilling.
inclusive. We had our first, like, it was a $200 steak. It was
whoa.
dry aged for 90 days. And according to Eric, it was the greatest thing he's ever put in his mouth.
Okay, wow.
Yeah, including my nips. But anyway, but he said it's the greatest steak he's ever had in his life. And I thought it was good, but I guess I don't have that kind of taste bud for steak. Mm-hmm. But I'm more of a sweets gal. But he said steak. That steak was amazing.
Have you ever had Wagyu?
No.
Neither have I, but like when I look at it, like you see, it looks like such a fatty. I mean, all of it.
Well, the fat's what makes that taste so good. In fact, I want to challenge you to get yourself a one hell of a fatty, delicious ribeye, high quality, and then don't do any of your prep for it. Just a little olive oil, and then throw that on the grill as is.
Oh, this isn't even a challenge. I'll just absolutely do it. Yeah.
Because you shouldn't have to marinate anything unless it's a bad cut. Like if it's skirt steak or something, then I get that. But
Like I with the steak stuff, I haven't learned from anybody okay, so I guess I've done this way more than I thought. Pizza, I got into a very hardcore like learning how to perfect pizza, like the fresh mozzarella, the basil, the oil that you put on top, you wait.
Do you have a stone? Do you make it on a stone?
No, actually, Timmery just came. I think it was just last week. She said, "Hey, what do you want for Christmas this year?" I was like, "I want one of those Uzi things or Uni things, whatever it is. It's one of your own pizza, like
an oven, like a wood
Yes,
fire oven
yes.
version."
And so I want that because at the end, like, yeah, I'll char it by putting it on top of the stove, turning it on low just to get a little bit more crisp to it. But I wanted to perfect it, and so I was like going nuts because I was like getting pizzas from everywhere, just trying all these things.
Yeah,
I don't know.
That's cool.
I suck at literally 99% of the things that I do, but I love to try to do all of the things.
I think you're a bullshit artist. Do you realize I came into the speakeasy competition?
Oh no, we don't need to do all this.
I walked in late because I wasn't a show previous. So I luckily Brett and those guys were really nice and said
So nice.
They said
Brett is
we
incredible.
won't wait for you, but we'll put you last so you can get up there. And I ended up making it before I saw I think 2 other performers. Before I got to see Lane and I got to see
Mike. No, not Mike. That was the week before.
some other guy. You immediately came up to me, hugged me, and you go, "I sucked. I was so bad. And then you won the whole fucking thing.
I was terrified. I don't know. Like,
But
I'm
then I
always
heard
terrified.
your podcast about how you wrote that day.
I wrote 2 days before. The first time I was actually
That's
able to
kinda
say
insane.
it. The first time I was actually able to say it was that day, like when I was trying to repeat it in my head. What I do is a lot of the times I've done, like a very lot of the times I've done stand up, I write it that day.
Wow.
Or like a few days before, because I want to, and Timmery will tell you this 100%. She's never heard one of my jokes ever before I've stepped on stage.
Wow.
And if she's going to a show where I'm doing it again,
You have a different approach to it. You want to tell a story that's fresh for just as much for you.
I
as
want it to
them.
be. I want I want the crowd's reaction to be funny for them. But I've never actually had a schedule that's allowed me to be an open micer. So now that I'm actually going to get that, I don't really know how I'm going to go about that because I was so torn about posting these past 2 sets. Like I was so torn. I'm like, these are like seem to be
don't
so.
post them.
I know, but like my thing inside of me was I love to make people laugh.
Yeah.
And so I was like, so many people that said they couldn't go to the show or this and that. I was like, fuck it, I'm going to post it. And so then I promised Timmery and I said to myself, from here on out, I'm writing to maybe, like get up on stage more, to do shows here, where these people haven't heard this, but I've perfected it.
So are the stuff that you have is pretty new, right? In the performances that I've seen you in, that material hasn't been up very much.
Oh no.
So perfect that.
I've only done them once.
So perfect that.
Already,
shorten it, tighten it, punch it harder.
I've already posted it.
Oh, so what?
I've squashed it. I made it disappear.
Bullshit.
I'm serious. Like there's no way you'll ever hear me say that again.
Really? Why? It's so good. Other people should hear it.
Yeah, but like...
And don't you want to refine it?
I do.
So you're like, this is a punch. If I hold my breath... So
I do.
That's my jam.
I definitely do. Especially with my second set that
I didn't hear.
But when I did that, if you were to hear what the fuck I wrote... Mm-hmm. It's not even remotely close.
Isn't that crazy?
I started bullshitting on stage because people were laughing so hard. I was like, all right, guys, I'm going to take a shot real quick. And then everybody started laughing. I was like, what in the world?
Right?
And then I made another joke after that where it was like, my dad's cum dried out my mouth. And dude, I mean, the set was very weird.
Yeah.
When I tell you it was very weird, it started with Fat Bastard and ended with me and Todd Wilhite making out and me beating off to him.
That guy is... he won't listen to this podcast because he's it's beneath him. But he is one of the cleverest. So my theory on stand-up...
I love how you said that's beneath him. That's incredible.
Kind of everything is beneath
Yes.
So in my limited opinion, my more of opinion on life than stand-up, but I think in stand-up... You have to have 2 out of 3 qualities to be a successful stand-up. Charisma, honesty, and cleverness. And I don't have cleverness. I have charisma, I think, and honesty. Everything I say on stage is absolutely true. I don't lie about anything I say. And that's part of why I want to do stand-up is because I think I have a story to tell. And I didn't have a story to tell 50 years earlier.
Is that your own line?
No. What, like right now, what I just said out of my mouth? Yeah.
That is so real. Like, that is 100% real. I heard someone once say...
Have you ever heard a stand-up and you're like... Or even on Netflix, like Nikki Glaser. I'm sorry, I'm going to name drop. I can't stand her stand-up.
She's got great
I'm
legs.
Like, great, you fuck people. Okay.
Exactly.
I get it.
She's great legs, though.
Does she? Okay. I'm not a leg.
No, that's...
Even as a woman, I'm not a leg girl.
Neither am I. That's...
But I just... But we're both married, and we could talk about the beauty and the happiness that comes to fucking someone who loves you.
Oh, absolutely.
Who actually knows. I think I fall more in love with my husband, not because I'm a loving person. I'm a selfish person. I look at him and go, you really love... I know I'm a shit show. You love me? I'm so grateful that I'll love you back. You know, it's not out of being a loving person. It's because I'm a selfish bitch.
Dude, I'm a selfish bitch too. Like,
I can't believe that someone loves me because when we first dated, I'm like, I'm just going to throw all my shit out there.
Oh my God.
And if you don't,
similar.
like, I'm out the door then. Because I want to be out the door fast. I don't want to invest in you. Mm-hmm. You know? This ain't Bitcoin.
That is so similar. It's like, hey, let me just give you all this fucking baggage real fast. Yeah. And then, wait, you love me?
You're not leaving? Okay. Yeah. Now I'm going to invest.
And now you love me more? Like, wait, like... Dude, that is so real, and the way you describe stand up, even with that is so.
There were stand ups that aren't honest about anything, and I'm like, I check out. But if you're clever, like the way that Todd puts together jokes, he is smart.
And I will say he did finally give me a verbal agreement to be on the podcast. After the first time I asked him, he was a complete dickhead to me about it. He goes, no, I don't think so. I was like, okay, I'll fuck off. And then I think all he needed to hear was, hey, the podcast is ranked #1 in the Philippines in comedy interviews. And then he was like, oh, okay, so I guess I get a little attention from it. Mike Androllis was the biggest dickhead I've ever met about being on the podcast. I asked him.
Yeah.
But what I wanted to do was subtitle everything he said, since you never understand what he's saying anyways. And he goes, how many viewers do you get? And I was like, I don't know, like 500-600. And he's like, that's not enough. And I was like,
what?
But it was the first time I ever met him a few years ago. And I was like, fuck this guy.
Yeah.
I didn't realize he just was
That's his jam. Like he was at the Speakeasy just watching, I think, just supporting, and he just kept constantly going, "I'm quitting. I'm retiring from stand up." And I go, "Why retire? You make the same money." You dumbass. But so going back to all this and Stevie Mo and all these things, I know that it's like 10, let's say 10 stand-up comedians and what they look like. Typically guys, fuzzy faces, disheveled hair, and half the time they talk about living in their parents' basement. Like the fact that you and I are married, I think we're a couple of the only ones.
Yeah, true, very true.
But I'm also a female and 50. And I know I'm this giant anomaly in the comedy world, at least we're in our circle.
In our circle, I can tell you, you're a powerhouse because
fine.
people are afraid when you get up on stage. No, I'm serious. People are afraid if you go up after them or to follow up.
That I'm going to comment on them.
They know that you're just, you're a killer. You're so funny. Like, people are, like it. When even at the Speakeasy, I was like, fuck, Leslie's still going up. Like, people were like, dude, Shane, you're gonna win. Shane, you're gonna win. Like, getting my fucking brain like blowing up, and then you walked in and you walked up on stage. I was like, oh man, like, but that's what you and that's not.
Right.
That's a great you're great. Like, yeah,
Thanks.
People really, really, really love it when you are up on stage, and so. When you say that, I could take all of those things out of your equation. You being a woman or you being 50 years old, and I look at you because you're good, and the bonus of that is that you're a fucking sweetheart when you're not on stage.
Well, what stand-up comedy has given me, and where I was going with this, with being such an odd anomaly, is that I have met a group of people, mostly men, there's a few women in there, but people that you and I should never cross paths. Anybody at the, I'm going to name the Dubuque guys because they have my heart, which is Todd Basinger and Levi Bowman and Chris Caulfield and Ryan Graham and Dan McCullough. I should have I shouldn't even be a moon in their sphere at all. And I have gotten to meet and that's not just me entering their lives. They would never enter mine. Like, there's been many times where I've thought, you guys are going to go all out and party, right? And drink and stuff after the shows. And I just go home because I have a 5-miler to do the next day. Or I think to myself, if it starts to snow, I should tell these Dubuque guys to come to my house and stay overnight. And I'm like, oh, they're going to want to smoke pot and drink and be up till 4. And I can't handle that. You know what I mean? And I'm like, maybe I should keep my phone on in case I get in trouble and I should go get them and stuff like that. And I think a little bit that way, but I never say, come over to my house because I'm really tidy. I can't handle you guys coming to my house. So, but I love them, and I feel so honored to be accepted by them. And then there's the Speakeasy guys here. Like, for years, even through Comedy Sports, I knew who Stevie Mo was, but it was like from afar. Like, that guy's a hot mess.
That guy stinks.
Stay away from him.
Smells really
and he
bad.
Does look like a.
He's a stinky, dirty guy.
Yeah, he looks like...
He doesn't just look like it. He is. Stevie, fuck you.
He's actually a good-looking guy if he let me clean him up, but he would never let me clean him up.
He really is.
He has thick black hair.
Have you ever seen him without a beard?
No, I don't think
Unreal.
But I've done his podcast twice, and I don't know what it is about me, but he tells his heart comes out too, and he's trying. He's gonna be a good he's gonna be a good man someday. He gets kind of in his own way sometimes, but
I think it's like Stevie, I love him so much. I mean, he is a dirty guy. He's very stinky. But
at your house maybe, but he's been on his best behavior at mine.
Dude, but Stevie is, he really is such a complete sweetheart of a person. The very first time I ever met Stevie, me and Timmery had this very good-looking friend with us, and Stevie was hitting on her, and she was kind of eating it up, and I was like, damn.
God, really?
And I know, I walked up to her.
He says chick all the time, and he kind of, I don't know if he does it now because he knows I don't appreciate it, so he kind of amps it up a little bit.
Well, I walked up to our friend and said, "Listen, no." And I said it right in front of him. There was no reason that me and Stevie should be friends today. But I told him this story. I was like, yeah, she was digging you. I was like, no, I was not letting that happen. I didn't want her to regret her life tomorrow. And
you know what, though? If he talks about his nieces and nephews, if he talks about his mother, his father, his family. Chris Caulfield, he scared the shit out of me when I first met that guy, and his comedy is like just not my jam. He looks like a wizard. His stand-up talked about being 40. I thought he was older than me. But I had a great conversation with him once. Like, you talk about his mother who's passed away and his father who's been ill lately. That guy has a heart, and even though his comedy is pretty crass in some points, it's clever as hell. Like, you got to give him some kudos for that. And they're just good guys.
It's a really cool, interesting group. The way all the puzzle pieces fall in, and I'm not just talking Dubuque. I'm in the Quad. No. But if you take the Dubuque, Quad City, Peoria. I was standing at the door. They probably turned 30 people away that night.
Eight minutes of time we were given, and of your 8-minute set, when you write 8 minutes, you actually should be writing 6, because you have to wait for that laughter to die down. Because if you're just barreling through, you're going to lose your audience. They're not going to hear your jokes, and you want to pause to take that in to see how this works. For me, being of my age, I talk about different topics. I will look at the crowd and go, are they my age or are they 20-year-olds? Because I'll change my set on the fly.
I almost did that exact thing when I saw that week 2, when I saw that it was only women in the crowd.
Okay.
And I'm like, how am I about to get up here and do a set about Peyton Manning?
Sports, yeah.
And I was like, no, just do it. And then last minute, that whole group of like college guys came in and this and that. But yeah, like you are so right. Like, but you know, like especially some of the topics I've seen you do stand up about are something that everybody can recognize and relate to, though.
Man, I hope so. Colin Maddox asked me to come up to Iowa City to do his showcase, and I'm doing it on the October 22nd. And it's in Iowa City, and it's college kids. I would assume college kids. And I just hope to fucking... First of all, it's at 9:30, and I'm like, oh, God, I'm going to be... That's when I go to bed.
You're like...
oh, fuck me. And but I just hope I can relate. And so I'm thinking about what my sets should be, because I've probably got 45 minutes of good stuff that I can pick and choose from and stuff like that. And I love writing, too. I really love writing, and it's hard for me. There is an art to writing, and there is an art to honing what's been written. Because what you wrote, if you wrote it just once and it's raw, and Donnie Townsend taught me this. He's like,
I just added that person. Everybody keeps saying I need to add him.
He would be clever, and he would be, he's just a unique stand-up, but he really has the art form laid down. There is, who knows why some people make it and some people don't, and what make it means is different for everybody, you know. But he is a very interesting stand-up, and to me, he's very clever and he's very charismatic. He's not the truth.
But I do appreciate, you know, kind of even looping back to what you were saying was, you know, you sometimes when you're on stage, it's like you want it to look like sometimes you're bullshitting, and sometimes you are bullshitting.
Yeah.
With my set that I did in the finals, I've never done something like that before. I forgot multiple lines.
That takes balls. Did anybody tape it for you? Obviously they did, because you posted it, right?
It's on. But posted. I forgot multiple lines.
Yeah.
And the lines I made up on stage were the ones that literally were unreal, crushing. And when I put that post up, and you put you're like the sweetest comment in the world up on it, like, but I said that every single time I before I walk on stage, I'm nervous.
Yeah.
I am.
Yeah.
I'm not joking. Like, I'm nervous about the next time. I'm literally already thinking about the next time I walk on stage, and I'm already nervous. But the second I get on stage, like, the very first thing that I want to do is I step up on the front of the stage so I can see under the lights, so I can actually see people, because I want to see how people's faces look when I'm making a joke, or when I'm talking to people. I want to see them. I don't want to see the light.
This helped me. And that was when I first... So I've been an improviser for 25 years. Mm-hmm. And so I'm not nervous at all when I do improv at all. Stand on stage, play characters, do all that. Doesn't bother me.
Not at all?
No, not 1 ounce. I can flip that switch and it's not a problem. I can play a lesbian vampire slayer, from Planet X, and I don't give a shit. And then I can switch that back off. I was so nervous. I'm kind of glad Eric and I don't want to say eloped, but... the idea of a 200-person wedding, that made me nervous. Like, to have a bunch of people look at me and, as me. To play somebody else is a different story. But I never lie, so I am myself on stage. But this helped me, and I owe it to Jen Cool, who's a great stand-up improviser. She's in Weisenheimer with me. We are Weisenheimer.com. And
we'll tag everything. Yeah, no, we'll tag it down below.
But she just said, talk to him. When you're nervous or something, you're just talking to them. Mm-hmm. And for me, when I'm talking to that audience, the reason the audience laughs is because whatever you said is not about you. It's about them.
And it resonates.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so when they laugh, they're giving you feedback. They're feeling themselves like, wow, they think what I'm thinking. Mm-hmm. Like, have you ever driven down the highway and just want to go, what would happen if I just drove up the fucking highway and just flew off? Like, would it be like the Dukes of Hazzard, or would I be dead?
But every person in the world has always thought it at least once.
Maybe more than once, maybe once a day. But when they laugh, they're telling you, the comedian, you're not alone in this world. And that's such a beautiful feeling. That's the drug. That's the fucking cocaine.
It really
heroin.
is. Because I couldn't when you say that with me and with what I am drawn to when people do stand up is that exact feeling. Because I will. Yes, I may have some dirty, dark story or whatever the fuck I'm saying. But I can tell you, in some way or another, this story is real, because I didn't come up with this out of nowhere. Like, there's going to be bits and pieces of everything that I'm saying that is kind of real. I know it sounds crazy, but like, even sitting here and you saying some of the things, like, you've lived a very interesting life so far. Like, I mean, I know that's why I wanted to do stand-up, is because I wanted to put some of these weird puzzle pieces together and then tell a story with it, like.
And dude, so and comedy has no age, especially stand-up. So Shayne, I know that you don't get out to as many open mics and stuff as you'd like, but your life, you're only 30. You have such a long life, and you have such comedy fodder. You have 3 daughters, you have a wife, you live in a small... Like, all of these things that you have lived through are going to be stories that you're going to tell. And you have the charisma, and you have the truth, and people are going to listen to you, man. And I'm very excited that you call me friend, so...
No, I think you're incredible. For real. My hands a little sweaty, but seriously, thank you so much for saying that, because I instantly, literally, when you walked off the stage and you were just standing there goofing, I was like, that is a sweetheart of a person. And then when you, because I always do the same thing, I kind of get nervous, like off stage, I'm like, I don't know and then you were so nice. Like, I was like, you're exactly what I thought you were going to be. And you were so incredibly not only were you great and I loved watching you, but you were so nice at the end of it. Like, yeah, you are, we're going to have to do this. We'll get Todd and Dan, or any, I think that'd be fucking fun.
That would be so beneath Todd.
Wait, bass singer?
Oh,
Because,
Todd? No,
listen,
not that Todd.
Todd Basinger's been canceled on this podcast. The first time he was on
Yeah, I asked
it
him
was
about
so shit. It was so. Oh, he told you?
Yeah, he said he got so drunk that it was belligerent, so you couldn't put it on the air.
It was so bad.
That
Todd,
is a
I
boy.
love you. You are
He's
incredible.
so handsome. I just want to cut his hair. He is such a good-looking dude, and he's so a sweetie.
Yeah, if you cut back on his drinking and drug use and all that stuff, he's a great. So he's gonna
We
make
all
some.
have pain.
He's gonna make some woman really happy. No, I really do love him. He's complete.
He's gonna make a great second husband.
Yeah. Some woman's gonna cheat with you and be very happy for a few months before the husband finds out, and then you're just the shitbag still and get your ass
I
beat.
kind of wish I could be reincarnated as one of Dan McCullough's kids.
Oh my!
I think it would be amazing to have him as my dad. Someday he's gonna be a great guy.
Oh.
I mean, he's already a great guy. I feel bad for him because he wants it now, and I'm like, oh, Dan, don't want it. That's death to you. So the next 6 months is gonna suck.
I've never thought about that. Dan McCullough could be my dad any day.
Oh, I love that.
I would
Give me like 20 years. I pass away like at 80 something, and then I reincarnate, and
yes.
I'm his little kid.
Yeah, it's not bad. You know, actually, the thing that I said to Dan, which I 100% mean, is he's given me so many compliments and so many nice things that he says because he's an incredible person. But I'm like, dude, you are just finding your creative brain. Now let it go. Let it go. He was like, dude, I can't believe you went up on stage and just said something you wrote a few days ago. I'm like, you have that same ability because you just standing out here right now, you've made 5 jokes to me that were so funny. Let your brain go a little bit further because
How old is he? Is he 25?
He's got to be young. I don't know how old he is, but I definitely know that he's
pretty young guy.
Yeah. And I mean,
I saw him do his first stand-up.
Really?
Yeah, his whole family showed up. It was really sweet.
That's what he said.
He told me his mom liked me best. That makes sense. I mean, come on.
Fuck you, Dan.
But yeah, he'll get there. But I hate seeing the stages of it in him. Like he wants it now. He's like, oh, I want it. I need to know. I need to know if I'm good. And I'm like, oh, that sucks.
Well, the only thing is to keep finding out.
Yeah. And he's got good people around him, and he's got the Dubuque Comedy Bar in his backyard. So
That's a fucking golden ticket, man. Like, and you know, like actually, well, I told you that I called him right before, and he was so pumped about you being on the podcast.
He's a good dude.
And yeah. I can't wait to see.
We're both big Breaking Bad, Better Call Saul fans.
Oh, man. Dude, did you watch El Camino?
Yeah.
Did you love it?
I could escape the reality of the time change, and stuff. Jesse Plemons, though, man, you got fat. That's all I could. I had a hard time. I tried really hard to get out of that.
Mr. White.
Ooh.
Jesse. Dude, what a great
But I did love it.
series.
Yeah, I loved it. I'm such a Better Call Saul fan. More than Breaking Bad, I hate to say, but...
Really?
Yeah.
More?
Well, I think
you got a crush on Bob Odenkirk.
I have a comedic crush. Like, I'd love to be in a writer's room with him and just, like, even be his writing slave. But, I mean, he's a Chicago boy, and I support Chicago comedians.
He made a quote after Mr. Nobody, and I thought it was really, really awesome because I'm a big Marvel comic book fan. All of these things
Me too. I like him, yeah.
And so when he said, you should have gotten in shape for Mr. Nobody or whatever. Yeah. And he goes, no. He goes, I want to show the world that a superhero can be something other than what everybody else is telling it should look like.
He
or
did
should
get
be.
in shape though.
But
he worked his ass off.
They
for
wanted
that.
him to look like Hugh Jackman and Wolverine or so. I don't know what the
You
hell.
can only go so far when you're like a 5'8" Midwesterner. What do you expect to have happen?
Yeah, you can only be on a treadmill so long with a dip in your mouth.
I don't think Robert Downey Jr. is that big of a dude. He was behind a metal suit though,
Yeah, but he's got coke in his system.
Does he? Still
He went to
this
prison
day. It's probably
for 20 years.
he's got some money.
Speaking of,
I saw some.
All right, but speaking of Robert Downey, You ever see the Zodiac, the movie The Zodiac with him and Jake Gyllenhaal?
A long time ago.
You know they just found out who the Zodiac killer is.
Who?
They
finally figured it out?
Yep, they completely identified him. A group, I'm going to guess it was like 20-year-old people because 20-year-olds have nothing to do with their life but figure out who the Zodiac killer was.
They have the technology.
Yeah, they identified him, and it's so wild because not only do they have DNA that they have found now, they also relocated that same person to the murders, each one of those murders, within a block. One of them, the person was caught with a weapon running away, and the police never linked them back to because it wasn't the same weapon. It's unreal.
God, what a shitty, sinful world. I'm sorry, Philippines. This is going a little over your time zone. As a woman, may I just say that I love a man that's manscaped.
Absolutely.
I like just hair in just the right amounts in just the right places. Everything else, please be as smooth as dolphin skin.
I've never felt a dolphin, but I know you've felt camel, and I know you've been to Giza.
You stalked me.
You've seen the pyramids, and you've traveled all around the world, and that is something too that I've always wanted to see, but I've never left the United States.
Don't go to Egypt. You know what's facing? You know the Sphinx, the lion's head.
Yeah.
Do you know what he's looking at? His eye line across the street is a Pizza Hut.
Are you fucking serious?
I am fucking serious. And it's not that big. Don't go to Egypt. And they hate women, so American women in particular. So don't go there. But Ireland, go there. Okay. That's fun as fuck.
Hey, we kill it because we drink over here too.
Oh, and they have music in every pub, and it's just a blast. And the Guinness tastes better. You can't have Guinness here. Just don't drink it.
You're a big beer person though. You love yourself a good variety of beer.
I actually work for Adventurous Brewing in Bettendorf. I'm their designer, so I'm an illustrator. I design their cans and stuff.
And oh, really?
Yeah.
So you're a bit of an artist.
I'm an artist. I have a business. One of my businesses is in digital marketing, and so we have an NFT site called planetmudnft.com, and so we're designing some NFTs that are going to launch to be minted in November.
What is an NFT?
NFT is a non-fungible token, which is considered an independent piece of unique art that is only in the crypto mining space.
I keep getting offered NFT through our TikTok page.
Oh, really?
And they're like, "Hey, join and you get this NFT," and I'm like, I don't even know.
It's okay.
And then there's another thing called Yat. People keep offering us is Yat. I don't know what that.
I'm new to it myself, but if you think of NFTs as baseball cards, were you a collector of baseball cards when you were a kid? My brother's really into it. I have a Mickey Mantle, but towards the end of his career.
Can I have it?
No.
Oh, okay.
I'm saving that for something.
What if we trade?
I have a Nelly Fox too.
I'll trade you one book for that card, and we'll
just
see.
One book?
Yeah, one book.
A book of what?
All Michael Jordans. Rookie, golf, baseball, everything.
Does that even have any value?
Hey,
do you think Michael Jordan's ball sack is just as big or bigger now than when he won all his rings? Like, does his wife have to work harder now?
I think Michael.
He's a little fatter now. Would you rather have a husband that's like you're the fourth wife, or would you rather be wife number one in the prime?
Okay, wait. First of all, I want to be the fourth wife.
I do too.
Because
there's less work involved, and you still get the money, and he probably doesn't have the energy to cheat on you.
And so, do you think that his? Well, we'll just go with the word shaft. Do you think his shaft or his ball sacks win in the race?
I will say his ball sacks probably win in the race. I do not like a low-hanging ball sack. That really grosses the fuck out of me.
It's kind of just like a.
There's no need for it.
It's just, well, can people control that?
Tighten that shit up. There's got to be something. It's like, how women can get chin tucks or something.
Can you just put a paper clip on there?
Like women can take tape and like that. Can you do that with a nutsack? And just
yeah, maybe just
rubber band.
Yeah, just stitch a little bit closer to the like your.
You don't need it.
Taint. Yeah, I don't.
Or stick your balls in ice water every day and just tighten that practice.
Yeah, that's a very painful practice.
I went to a play once and it was cold in the theater and I remember that. It was a small theater, and it was this comedy where these two guys kidnapped a woman, and she kidnapped him back, and she had them stripped down to their underwear, and this one guy was wearing white tighty whities, but his nutsack was longer. And I was a young woman when I saw the play, and I wasn't super experienced with. I still never had a lot of men or anything, but I just went. I was just shocked by how big his nutsack was, and then at intermission I look in the program and he's like, "I'd like to thank my wife." Da da da, and I'm like, "Somebody married that big ass ballsack?" Like I would. Oh God, I would be bothered by that. You said I was nice, and I'm not. If my husband's nuts weren't nice and tight, I'd be out of there.
I think we're going to start the podcast with that quote and your ferociousness towards those ball sacks. Do you want people to follow you on anything, any links that you want people to go to? We'll attach them down below. So
LeslieMitchellComedy.com. I think I need to update that because I have a show coming up. WeAreWeisenheimer.com is my 10-year and running strong long-form improv troupe, and we perform at Teehee's Comedy Club in Des Moines, Iowa, at least once a month. And then PlanetMuttNFT.com. If you are into NFTs and are an art collector of NFTs, we launch on November 2nd, and 25% of our proceeds go to no-kill animal shelters.
That is absolutely incredible. And if you guys use the promo code SHOT30 at any of those sites, you're not going to get any discount. Nope. Hey, that is Leslie Mitchell. I'm Shayne Neubert. SHOT30 Podcast is available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, CastBox, YouTube, all those things. Please like, share, subscribe, tell your friends, and be back for the next episode. Leslie, you're absolutely going to be back. We will get some of those ugly pieces of shits on the show, and we'll all do one together and just party it up. And we'll be done by 8:30, 9 o'clock at night.
That works fine.
So we're still in bed at the right time. This is SHOT30 Podcast. Thank you guys for being here. Thank you for watching, and thank you for listening.
Oh my.